We'll get back to your music shortly, but first, did you know that prescription prices are different at different pharmacies? You could literally drive across the street and get a different price. That's crazy. But with GoodRx, you can instantly compare prices at every pharmacy in your neighborhood and save up to 80%. You're probably thinking there's a catch, right? Nope. It's 100% free and can save you money whether you have insurance or not. In fact, it can often beat your copay. Download the GoodRx app today and start saving. GoodRx is not insurance.
Welcome to They Called Us a Movie, testing the strength of friendships one terrible movie at a time. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and other podcast services by searching They Called Us a Movie. We're part of the Main Damie Network, and to find more from us, check out the website, themaindamie.com, or on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at The Main Damie. We're also now a proud member of Geek Vibes Nation. You can find them at gvnation.com. Welcome back to They Called Us a Movie. This is Anthony Delvecchio. With me, as always, is Dan Aquino and Mark Myers. Say hello, gentlemen.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, just got to get one thing off my chest. Hallelujah is not a Christmas song. I was literally screaming that in my car because the song has absolutely nothing to do with the holidays. And it is also slightly about sex, which is really fucking weird to be singing in a Christmas thing.
It's all about
no
fucking.
way.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. It came on my playlist, too, the other day when I was driving home. And I never listened to it anymore because a certain director has ruined it forever. And it's just a bad song to begin with. But yeah, I always linked that with Christmas, but I guess not.
Nope.
No. Nope. And it's because they play the Pentatonics one, which is,
yes,
all the time. But it shows me people don't read the lyrics to anything anymore. And B, they have not heard the Jeff Buckley version, which is clearly not a holiday song. So
yeah, or the Leonard Cohen version.
And Leonard Cohen's even more off base, and Buckley's version might be my favorite song of all time. So
whoa,
yeah.
Huge
Drop.
Big if true.
Yeah. I love that song.
Wow.
Or at least his version of it, because he adds a couple verses that Cohen
Holy
doesn't have.
Shit.
That's pretty cool.
Man, dropping bombs.
Yeah. That's why it frustrates me when it pops up on the radio.
Man, I don't even know if I could tell you. I don't even know if I have a favorite song. Like gun to my head, I don't know if I could answer that question.
Favorite song overall?
Of all time.
Of
Mark's
all
saying
time.
this is his favorite song of all time.
Yeah.
It's bold. It's a bold proclamation on this, which was supposed to be a very easy, non-confrontational episode, but here we are now.
Yeah, I don't have a favorite song of all time. It's
hot takes are coming out strong today.
Yeah, and this is the first episode of the new year, essentially, right?
I think it's the last episode of this year.
Oh, the last episode of this year. So yeah, that's a way to end 2020.
I had to drop a hot take to end the year.
That's
Man.
You saved it for the very end.
It was the last song I heard in the car before coming home from work, so that's why it was on my mind too. And I wanted this reaction from the both of you, which is why I didn't preface it in the pre-show.
Yeah, Mark was like on cruise control all year. He's like making excuses for like Justice League, all the movies that we watched. Last December 31st, 2020, he's like, boom, this is the greatest song of all time. Fight me.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Justice League, and we have a running joke with Mark about how he would make the movies better. From the beginning of 2020, from the first episode till now, how many extra minutes has Mark added to movies overall, you think?
It's always just 15. So they're kind of like
It's
Yeah.
a solid 15 minutes.
It's like
It's no more,
microtransactions.
no less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just one little story. Just give me a little information on this one specific thing. 10, 15 minutes, and
So
I'll be happy.
I would say Mark has probably added like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, well, he did suggest that League of Extraordinary Gentlemen should be a miniseries.
Yes.
Ooh. So that's a
Yeah.
couple weeks worth of.
Yeah. I added an entire season.
What is it streaming on?
Lead Extraordinary Gentleman. That feels like an
CBS.
Amazon Prime series.
I was gonna say CBS All Access.
Or yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely not Netflix or
It's great for all those
Hulu or anything
55
like
and up, right?
yeah. It's a little more obscure, highbrow Amazon or CBS All Access, but not strange enough to be an HBO Max.
CBS All Access, where somehow people are watching it. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone other than my in-laws. I haven't heard of one person who has, oh yeah, CBS All Access. That's my go-to.
It's probably like free with your Spectrum subscription.
Yeah. Yeah, I know people that work like for CBS Interactive got like the free trial.
Oh,
like
wow.
the not the free trial, like the version with ads for being employees.
Oh, I thought
I-
the company hooked them up with the free trial that everybody
No,
gets.
no.
Can I tell
I
you
said that
something?
wrong. That would be great. But
As someone who works for the company, I get Showtime for free, and I would get CBS All Access for free. I have neither of them.
yeah, you probably get
That's
the
my
the
choice.
CBS All Access is probably the ad for.
Yeah, I don't need it. There's nothing on there that I need to see.
You don't
You're
want my Star Trek Discovery?
They're like, you get Showtime and CBS All Access, and you're just like, no, thank you.
Yep, no, I'm okay. Pass.
And everybody looks over and goes, yeah, that's probably the right choice.
Yep. Well, I was thinking, I was like, oh, Showtime, they might have some good movies on there. And then one of my coworkers was telling me, I think like one of the best movies they had on there was, it was like Armageddon was on there. I was like, oh, well, that's not good. And then I saw like signing up for it was essentially this whole process. Like, oh, I have to get like a password for it. No, thanks.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, too much work needs to be done for so little.
So yes, this is our last episode of the year 2020, and we just kind of wanted to do a quick little show. We don't have any movie set up for this week, but essentially we're just trying to keep our stream going constant. So we're dropping an episode in a week where we're not watching a movie. So we just wanted to kind of say, I know obviously it's Christmas and Hanukkah have passed and all other holidays basically, but I hope you had a good holiday, but have a happy new year. Be safe tonight if you're going out. Be responsible in both your social distancing as well as your drinking. But we just kind of wanted to do a really quick wrap up of the year. We don't really have much on the agenda other than we wanted to talk about some of our favorite movies we covered this year. But yeah, you guys got anything to say, really?
I am very happy and thankful for you, Ant, first of all. You and Mark, you guys have come up with some good ideas, some good movies. This is a lot of fun to do every week. I look forward to it every week. It breaks up the monotony. Sorry. It breaks up the monotony of the work week. And we have a lot of fun here. We chat prior to and after recording. So I look forward to doing this for the foreseeable future. If you can have me and withstand me, I would definitely appreciate that. I think we've accomplished a couple goals this year that we were kind of long shots for a podcast like this, I think. But we're heading in the right direction, so I'm very happy with our progress.
Yeah. What about you, Mark?
Yeah, so thankfully Dan said all those good things because I know along with Anthony, I'd like to announce that Dan, this is your last podcast on the show. We're finding a new person.
So not only do you drop your favorite song on us, but you also boot me off the podcast. Man, you really did save it for the last episode.
No, but in all seriousness, this podcast and for me personally, the multitude of other things that we do through the Main Damie family of networks and streaming and all that have kept me sane through a crazy 2020, both from the macro in terms of the pandemic and all that craziness, through to the micro of having someone very close to me pass during this year. Just being able to still do the podcast, still get to talk to you guys, not feel at any point disconnected. And I apologize if it's got a little too deep, but, it's essentially this year doing this and, everything else just get me a lot more sane than if I didn't have this to go to. So, and on a more lighter note, it also introduced me to a whole bunch of movies that I really would have probably never watched that are good, in a sense, and found out that I probably should have watched a bunch of them before this, as they seem to be popular amongst people I know. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But this podcast is always fun. Sometimes it's a rush of me watching it like 20 minutes before we air, depending on how my work week went, and other things this year. But I always try to find a way to watch it. And and they echo everything else that Dan said. A lot of the good goals this year, interviews and things like that. So hopefully next year we might be able to do some more stuff like that as things slowly get back to normal. So
I wanted to add one more thing that I was thankful for, and this is also on a lighter note. Our international fans. That is so cool when we see some of the people who, or the countries that download the podcast. We have some very interesting countries, like Finland is one of them, right?
Yep.
Finland, Isle of Man.
Shout out to our listener in Isle of Man. We see you. Unless you're just some person with a VPN that's just like sets it to Isle of Man for some other reason.
Because there's no law on that island.
Yeah.
So.
If you're listening, Isle of Man fan, hit us up. Just say hey, themaindamie@gmail.com. Send us an email, just because in terms of per capita, that is our biggest reach.
Dominate
the island of 80,000 people. We've got that one fan out there. So very happy to have you on board with us as we go.
I was joking around with the guys earlier. I was like, it would be so cool to, when traveling is allowed for us, to just go to these countries and run into like, oh my God, you're Dan from They Called This a Movie. I would love. That would make my life. That would be the greatest thing, literally ever.
Yeah, if we go to the Isle of Man, to run into us, hey, you're Mark from They Called Us a Movie. Yeah, nice. You want to do some blow? I got some.
I don't. Is that what you're known for?
It's the Isle of Man. Anything goes.
Oh no.
Mark ran into John Mulaney.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Some of you guys have gotten into the holiday spirit a little too much.
See, this is what happens when we don't have a movie to focus on. We just take shots at people.
Right. You guys aren't pointed in just one direction. You guys are just all over the place now. It's a problem when I'm the straight one here. I'm the straight man.
Yeah. I think to echo kind of Mark what he said, this is kind of in a very strange year, and even for me it was a stressful year. It was this show was a sense of normalcy. We got to spend time with our friends for 2 hours at a time, basically every Tuesday while we record, while the world around us is collapsing. So it was a nice kind of way to keep ourselves sane and, act like nothing was really going on in the outside world. Yeah. And I think we, as Dan mentioned, we accomplished some goals that we had set out. I mean, modestly we accomplished them. Hopefully we see some continued growth. I know we do have some plans for doing some different things in the new year. We're talking about maybe bringing on some like guest speakers and talking to them with some movies, having some people on, continuing with maybe some more interviews if we could find people that we want to interview. I know we did the Joseph Mignon interview, which was a lot of fun. Our first interview we ever did. Would have liked to have done more this year, but the fact that we every week we released a new episode this year, so that was a good thing. And I think it could be the second year in a row we did that. I feel like.
I think you're right. I know last year in 2019, we all weren't always on each episode.
Mhm.
But I think we might have missed. Did we miss 1 week or did we take a week off?
I think we took a scheduled break right around
Mhm.
4th of July weekend.
Right. I think that's we didn't essentially miss it as much as we
We're gonna-
planned it.
Yeah, it was pre-planned. But yeah,
Yeah.
second year in a row where we didn't miss a week, we should
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, and I think I made all episodes. I think I'm on every single episode this year. I think we all are, right? Did anyone miss an episode?
Well,
I missed-
definitely missed one.
I missed 2. I missed Killers in the beginning
That's
of the
right.
year, and I missed Justice League.
Yeah, and Mark, you had taken some personal time. I think you missed a couple.
God, did I even? I don't.
You missed 2 in a row.
Yeah.
You missed
I'm just
Hell
looking.
Comes to Frogtown,
Okay.
and then the one before that, I think.
It wasn't a
Oh,
horror.
this is 2019. Okay, never mind. Hold on. That's why I'm like, I remember watching those movies.
Well, you
So,
did. You said
yes.
you watched Hell Comes to Frogtown. King
Yes,
Kong
I
vs.
did watch
Godzilla.
it, but
That's what it was. Yes, King Kong versus Godzilla. So
yes,
I
yes, 'cause
think-
that was because that was the bad week. So yeah.
So I think by the laws of podcasts, I am the ruler of this show now because
You're Cal Ripken Jr.
I am. Yes, I am the Iron Man of podcasting.
Yeah.
Mr.
Your schedule has
Dependable.
opened up now that you don't have to work March Madness.
Yes, that is true. That is phenomenal, man. That was a great change.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's when you would miss.
Yeah. Or yeah, most of the time, especially the first week, it would be hectic. But yeah, I'm happy with where we are, and I think it's only going to get better because we are taking more chances. We've had people actually, as Anthony said, we had the interview with Joseph Mignon. He reached out to us because he had seen that we had covered Motorama, and Anthony made a brilliant connection with Motorama and the Odyssey, I believe, right? Or was it the Iliad?
The Odyssey.
The Odyssey. So yeah, I think we're gonna keep taking chances. We're gonna push the envelope a little, not in terms of content, but just putting ourselves out there. I mean, we're pretty blue as it is. I'm not saying we're gonna start going nuts and doing like Howard Stern stuff here, but yeah, just in terms of just getting out of our safe space, as it were. And yeah, I'm very excited for multiple reasons for 2021 to come, but I really enjoy doing this show, and it's a lot of fun.
All right. Yeah. The only other thing on our agenda, and I will modify it slightly just because we didn't have this. We wanted to talk about what our favorite movies were that we covered this year, but I will modify it and say has to be a first time watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So no Running Man.
The movie that I picked, I'm lucky because it was the first time watching it, is Double Impact with
Okay.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Essentially only because of our theory of tag teaming your wife with your future self, is it? Or is it your past self?
That's Time Cop.
That's Time Cop.
Oh, damn it.
Double Impact is twins, but
That's
they're two different
twins.
people.
That's right. Oh, I'm confusing Time Cop and Double Impact. But that's still a pretty good movie. I'd never seen it before. Damn it. I was so sure. Shit. Now I'm not 100% sure if I want to go with that.
That
Was there any? What was our?
Good afternoon. Would you like to try a free sample of our double fudge brownie?
Oh, sure. That's very good. I'll just take one more, just to be sure. Yep, still very good.
Some things never change, like never being able to take just one free sample. And Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Is that macadamia nut I taste? Let me take one more.
Sir,
Yeah, I thought so.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Who are you texting?
My therapist.
You text with your therapist?
Text, video chat, call. Yep.
That sounds too easy. How did you find her?
I just went to betterhelp.com/save. She's a licensed therapist and it's all online. I connect when it's convenient for me and don't waste time driving anywhere. Plus, it's affordable.
I wonder if I should try it.
It's great to talk to someone in confidence. She's helped me sort out quite a few things. And right now you save 10% off the first month when you go through betterhelp.com/save.
BetterHelp.com/save. Got it.
Our thesis on Double Impact. Was there one?
That you were going to, if you ever had twins, you were going to raise them, telling them that twins abided by Time Cop rules, so they could
So they
never
can't
touch
see
each other.
They couldn't
They
touch
could never
each other.
touch.
Right. And they just grow up with an irrational fear of, like at their weddings, they can't hug. I'm gonna do that. I still plan on doing that. And twins run in the family with Jen.
Okay.
So there's a real possibility that I get struck with
Yeah.
that.
That's on the record. Me and Anthony will hold you to it.
Twins run in Lynn's family too.
Well, what I need from you guys, if that happens, if I do have twins, you have to keep up with the lie.
Yeah.
So if you see them go to like hug each other, you have to like no, don't do that. Something bad's gonna happen, and just keep it going.
What about you, Mark? What was your favorite movie that we covered
Yes.
this year that you had never seen before?
Yeah, so my favorite movie that I've never seen before is definitely Gleaming the Cube.
Okay.
Because for sheer fact of watching it and also the experience I had afterwards. So I watched it, it was a really good movie, and I'm like, why haven't I seen this movie before? This seems like, one of those 80s movies I would have definitely have seen or come across at some point. It's Christian Slater, and, found out that Tony Hawk is an actor, I guess, before he became a world famous skateboarder or whatever this was. He drives a Pizza Hut truck really well. But the main thing that came from this, which is what made it my favorite, was going into work the next day, because I usually tell them what movie we do, because we have a couple cinephiles in the office. And mentioning that movie, going, thinking, I watched this obscure, movie. Hey, I watched a Christian Slater skateboarding movie. And the guy went, Gleaming the Cube. And I was like, son of a bitch. He's like, I love that movie. Where else can you get skateboarding in the Viet Cong? I was like, So that was the best conversation I had outside of this podcast for a movie, and it's what made it stick out. And it's definitely one that I'll probably remember for a while, or it will be brought up in the office as, hey, remember Mark didn't know what Gleaming the Cube was? So that's why it's my choice.
Gotcha. So I don't know. I'm scrolling through a lot of the movies we saw this year I've seen before. Running Man being one of them was a great one. I kind of have to. Dan mentioned it off podcast. It's not my favorite, but just the bizarreness that I could not have prepared for of Love on a Leash. It's just one of the favorite things that we've covered, not in terms of the actual quality, just the fact that we covered it. And that was followed up with Tiptoes too. That was another good one. It was just a very good moment in the middle of June where we found these two bizarre films. Motorama was a good one. That led us to interviewing Joseph Mignon. Hell Comes to Frogtown was a weird one.
Yeah.
The Dirt Bike Kid was a weird little gem that we had found. I had seen Stalked by My Doctor, The Return, so that one doesn't count. From Beyond, I never watched before. That was another good one.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah. So a lot of these, I could pick out movies that became my favorite bits of the year. Like Dan was mentioning off air, the Bye Bye Man. It became the bit of, I said, why didn't they just call him the Choo Choo Man?
Yeah.
Because of the train.
Such a good one.
And then because of the other movies you were mentioning too, like Tiptoes, talking about how the seething anger from Matthew McConaughey throughout the entire second half of that movie.
Yeah.
And I think one of those, the Clint Howard thing came up during one of those.
Was that Mac and Me?
That was The Goods. Live Hard, Sell Hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Mac and Me's another one.
Ooh, Mac and Me was a good one. I'm pretty sure I saw that when I was a kid, though.
I'd never seen it.
I did.
Just the deleted scene of the kid being blown away in the wheelchair. Just it's burned in my brain.
Shot by the cop. Not.
It's so good. It's
Hologram
so
Man. That was a weird one.
That was a weird one. That was a good one. I like that one. Motorama. I mentioned Motorama. That was interesting to say the least.
Cats. We watched Cats this
year.
We
did watch Cats. I don't know about Cats. I feel like that was just a train wreck. That's an abomination. Front to God.
Yeah. Yeah. So as I listened because they call this. I'm sorry. How Did This Get Made covered it recently. and I don't know if we mentioned it on our podcast, but the fact that Judi Dench's character wears a fur coat, so she's essentially just wearing the skin of her own kind. Around there. It'd be like us putting on human skin.
You know, it was a weird one, and I never thought I would see this movie. Fritz the Cat.
Yeah.
In my life, I had no plans on ever seeing that.
That was probably the most uncomfortable we've ever been.
Yeah,
Yes.
Understandably so.
Yeah, I'm also glad that we introduced Dan the Vampire's Kiss.
I'd never seen that. That's true. That was
It's one of my favorite
most-
Cage movies.
the most memeable Cage movie of all time.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of these movies I've never seen. So that's good. That's a good thing about this. I guess it's a two-way street. I'm seeing movies for the first time and they're terrible.
Yeah.
Love Tiptoes. I think Tiptoes was my movie to pick, and I couldn't think of a movie. And Anthony had mentioned how Gary Oldman plays a little person. Like, well, now, I mean, where do I sign? I gotta watch that. They had a perfectly good Peter Dinklage right there.
Yes. Yeah, I'm just looking like trying to compare 2020 in terms of the movies we did to 2019. It seems like we, despite the fact that our original concept was that we picked movies that were slightly based around a new release, I don't think we really missed a step this year with the lack of new releases.
Yeah, I think we kind of kept close to that in some way.
We
had
stuck with it
themes.
for a bit.
Yeah, we had themes.
And then movies stopped being released, and then
Right. So we had no choice but to.
Yeah, I think we abandoned it just about. I think Mac and Me was the first one because Leprechaun 4 in Space was our St. Patrick's Day episode, and then before that was Fritz the Cat, and I don't remember why we covered because it was an animated movie. I think that might have been like when Onward came out.
Maybe.
Invisible Dad was Invisible Man.
Right, The Invisible Man.
Sonic was Sonic. 50 Shades of Grey was our Valentine's Day episode.
oh,
Right.
I take it back. Sonic the Hedgehog was my favorite movie of the year. No. The only movie to make $100 million this year, guys.
And the movie that, unbeknownst to me, we forced Jen onto our podcast in order to cover.
And she, oh my God. She could not have been less willing to do it. I don't blame her. She had no interest in seeing the movie itself. She was like, oh, really? Do I have to do this? If you love me, you will.
Yeah, that was one of our longer episodes this year, too.
That was, what was that, an hour?
Almost
40?
an hour and a half. An hour
Okay.
and 26. That was our long part of the year. We
That was-
really started to hit a groove when we're like between an hour and 10 usually.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I think we covered a interesting slate of movies this year.
Yeah, I was not, only a couple times was I bored, and I think they were both Dan choices of was it the Hercules movie or whatever, Legend of Hercules,
The Legend
and-
of Hercules, I think.
and
right?
then Outcast.
Outcast. I don't
That
remember
was
that one.
that was the
Nicolas
Nick
Cage,
Cage
Hayden Christensen.
Oh, yes. Oh, God. Yeah. Those are probably the two absolute worst movies. Outside of Love on a Leash, because that one is just not meant to be,
Good.
Yeah, that was just someone put together something, and it turned out to be a movie. But this
Yeah,
was an.
they didn't have
these movies
multi-million
were-
dollar budget for Love on a
Yeah,
Leash.
exactly. There was Outcast, and shows how much of an impact that movie left on me. I couldn't even remember it. But
It was like
yeah,
a month ago, too.
yeah. It was in November, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, those had actual Hollywood movie stars in them and big budgets, and they were just pieces of trash, really.
And they also had a sound design or whatever.
Sort of, yeah.
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 Unlike Love on a Leash.
Yeah, so it's like, what is that? What Love on the Leash was missing? I forget.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
would just be moments of, there's nothing in the background, no background noise.
I mean, you could just say it's simply like there was literally no audio.
That was a train wreck, but it was a glorious train wreck.
Yeah. Is there any movie that you guys are looking forward to covering in the next year?
I know one of them. I think we're gonna try to cover early on that I've been wanting to watch is RoboCop, and that is more so of a listener request.
Yeah.
I know someone who's been dying ever since we've done Running Man. They've been dying for us to do RoboCop, and it's just never been available to us.
Mm-hmm.
So
the
now,
reboot, right?
not the reboot, no. That one is definitely more deserving of our punishment, but
Yeah.
I feel with RoboCop, it's, I don't think anyone thinks that's a bad movie per se,
No.
but it's a lot of fun and it definitely lends itself to criticism.
Sure.
So I think that I'm looking forward to movies being a thing, possibly. We'll see. So maybe there'll be something that comes out in theaters that we can kind of piggyback off of.
Sure.
And I would say if we can do this, because we all live fairly close to each other now, I think if it's safe to go back to the movies, we should all pick a movie, see it, and maybe review it here.
Sure.
So which end of the year Marvel movie are we saying?
Well, no, if we want to pick a bad movie.
Which end of the year DC movie are we saying?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. What do they got coming out?
We don't have to go to the theaters to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League.
That's true. I don't want to watch. I don't want to review that. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to give that movie the time of day. That'll be the first review I miss. If you do that, I'm not doing it.
And can do a podcast with Juwan.
Yeah, Juwan, if you're listening, which we know you're not.
Well, Tia can relay it to. You know what we could possibly do? Because I had mentioned we did, or one of us mentioned, we covered the 1967, or is it 64, King Kong versus Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on if it comes out in theaters or if it's on Netflix or whatever, we could possibly cover that. I am assuming that movie's going to be awful, even though I love that. I am very much looking forward to it, but there's no way that movie's going to be any good.
Anything you're looking forward to, Mark?
No, in seriousness, I look forward to every year with this is finding a movie from a star, not so much a star, like I'm thinking more of the Tom Selleck, Burt Reynolds like level,
Mm-hmm.
sort of just weird movie, like Runaway we did this year, and Raven and stuff like that, to watch and go, wow, there's a reason why they weren't big time, A-list movie stars. Those are good, and finding 80s movies that are weird. And I always look forward to 31 Days of Horror because I'm not the horror fan amongst us. So getting to see movies I probably would never even think twice about, and then having some of them become, instant favorites for me. So that and but I guess all this is coming to say is I want to watch the sexy Colonel Sanders movie.
the long way around saying that.
All right, yeah. The one what I'm looking forward to is a movie that's not a Christmas movie at this point. I'm over Christmas, so in terms of the movies, so I'm ready to watch RoboCop and maybe some other really shitty action movies.
Yes,
but
January, the month for shitty action.
Dump month.
That's right, and I think it'll be a good palate cleanser.
Yeah, I think that's all we got this week.
Yeah.
Everybody. I'm just gonna forego the usual plug your shit stuff this week. You know where to find us. They Call This Movie. We're on Spreaker. All socials at the Main Damie and themaindamie.com. You want to suggest a movie to us? themaindamie@gmail.com. And all that great stuff. We're on Geek Vibes Nation, dvnation.com, and on all socials just by searching Geek Vibes Nation. You guys have got any final words before we get out of here?
Thank you all so much for continuing to listen and download and interact with us on social media. We truly, truly appreciate it. I'm very thankful. I know it's been a tough year, but I'm thankful for you guys, the fans, and you, Anthony, and you, Mark. You guys, good people, and I'm very much looking forward to this year ending, and I hope nothing but the best for all of you in the upcoming year. We could not have done it without you.
Yeah. Final word. Yeah. Once again, thank you guys again. Looking forward to 2021. Outside of this podcast, just looking forward to maybe at some point going into a movie theater and eating a giant tub of popcorn with lots of really terrible butter on it, which is, something you don't know you miss until you don't do it anymore. But yeah, looking forward to that. And also, I'm extremely excited by new co-host Tom Schuster coming in for the RoboCop episode.
Oh yeah, he's gonna love that movie.
Yeah, like they have said, we've made it. If you're listening to this episode, we've made it. 2020 is hours away from being over by the time you listen to this. So I just want to thank everybody that was along for the ride. We hope to bring you more great content in 2021. Like I said, we've got things planned or things we hope to get accomplished this year, just like this past year. And this was kind of our safe haven for sanity and was keeping our minds occupied and keeping up friendships. That's going to wrap it up this week.
And hopefully, when we count down to midnight tonight, it doesn't flip over the schmarch, and we're still stuck in 2020.
Haven't lost a New Year's on my watch. I'll be damned if I lose one now.
We got 2 Simpsons references in the last couple of minutes,
back to back.
Yes.
I was worried we wouldn't have one, so that's why I had to.
Yeah.
That would just mean the curse would continue over to 2021 if we didn't get it going.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for listening. We will see you in the new year. This is Anthony Del Vecchio, and for Dan Aquino and Mark Myers, this is Anthony Del Vecchio telling 2020 to go fuck itself.
Did you know you could shop around for prescription prices? With GoodRx, you can find free coupons at over 70,000 pharmacies and save up to 80%. It's that easy. But don't just take my word for it. Dr. Adam says, I've been telling all my patients about GoodRx. Jacqueline says, my medication was $65 without insurance, but I paid $25. Aubriana says, you don't have to pay full price to live your best life. Couldn't have said it better myself. GoodRx is 100% free. Download the GoodRx app today and start saving. GoodRx is not insurance.